Welcome to Apricot 2021. My name is Melody and I am your MC for today. Now, perhaps you've just come from the APNIC NIR session, or maybe you come from the APOP session, or maybe even this could be your first session for today. So right now, what you are watching is the APNIC track in Apricot, and it is the product and services session. Now, the products and services session is a forum for APNIC members, other stakeholders, our secretariat, to discuss existing and upcoming services. Before we begin this session, though, I only have two things to remind you in terms of housekeeping. The first one is definitely the code of conduct. It is published in the Apricot website, and also we will share the link in the Zoom chat. The second thing, I hope everyone's used to this already. Please use the Q&A button to submit your questions to our speakers for today. For anything else, general comments or conference-related questions, please do so by commenting in the Zoom chat box. So that's all from me. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our moderator. He is APNIC's Product Development Director, Anton. Anton will introduce our speakers for today. So let me just welcome you, Anton. He's right here.
Thank you very much, Melody, and welcome everyone. So glad you could tune in. Yes, indeed, this is the products and services session. We have a great opportunity to have the APNIC products and the APNIC services teams to provide an update to us all on the work that they've been doing since the previous conference, and also to share some forward-looking plans that they have for the rest of the year. We have a full agenda today. We have just under an hour to go, and we have 6 presentations to get through, so I'll do my best to keep things on time. I'm planning to do a quick Q&A after every presentation, but due to the time and depending on the length of the presentations, we might not be able to get through everyone's questions, in which case I would ask that if your question isn't answered, please send it to conference@apnic.net so we can get it answered for you as soon as possible. So without further ado, let's kick this off. I would like to introduce the first speaker, Dale Roberts. He is our Customer Experience Manager at APNIC, and Dale is ultimately responsible for streamlining our products and for making it work better and easier to use. So over to you, Dale.
Thank you very much there. Sorry for that little delay, everybody. Yes, as Anton mentioned, I am the Customer Experience Manager here at APNIC. Essentially, when we're talking about customer experience, we are talking about the experience of members and the broader community using our products and services. And so for that, we essentially want that to be a good experience. We want that at APNIC Secretariat. We want the members to feel that as well, and anyone who's using any of our products and services. So a big important part of making that actually happen is feedback. And that's why I've got that as a first slide. And a lot of what I'll be talking about today is feedback. It is incredibly important for us to get that, to make this improve our products and service and have the best experience possible for everybody. So feedback can really range from anything from the APNIC survey that's done every 2 years. And look, that's really kind of a full-on bit of feedback there, but also additionally, we have small-scale feedback. We have the feedback you can see on the APNIC website. A lot of our products and services will do that as well. You might get a satisfaction survey after doing or experiencing one of our services here at APNIC. So we do really encourage you to take part in any feedback opportunities you have. It really does help us. So what do we actually do with it? Because, I mean, there's no point of giving feedback unless we're actually going to take action, do something with it. So essentially, we collect all your feedback across our product and services suite. We analyze that and we take action where we can. So that can kind of differ in the types of actions that we actually take. We can take action within a team. So each of these teams will receive feedback very specific to their product or service. And that might just be a bug. It might be a big feature improvement that they're going to do. And that can be just worked out through that individual product or service. Additionally, though, we have, and this is something we're really trying to focus on a lot more, is looking at some topics and themes that are across the entire APNIC product and service suite. So really improve that overall experience. There's no point that a couple of products improve something and we don't fix it somewhere else. So we need to make sure that we're looking at this as an overall experience for everybody. Additionally, it might be just a small problem in one product, but it could be in every single product. And maybe that one product won't actually do anything about that initially, but if you put all that together, then actually that can really impact the experience that someone can have. So we're looking at that and trying to put those pieces together to make a better overall experience for everybody. So what have we done so far? So a big thing that we've been looking at the moment is accessibility. So accessibility is basically, particularly for those with vision or hearing issues, to ensure that they can actually access APNIC products and services. It may only be a small amount of people, but the impact is incredibly high. And we received feedback that we had some work to do in this space. So essentially, we wanted to make sure we did a really proper job. So we went to some experts called Utopia, and we did a review of the APNIC site, and of quite a few different sites, actually. And we made sure we wanted to have a look at what was working and what wasn't. And there was a lot of really good things, of course, but there's, of course, some critical and high issues that we've identified there. We've got those right now in our work to do, and we're working on them currently right now to fix those. And we've actually promised that in our activity plan to ensure that all critical and high issues have been solved. Additionally, we don't just want to tick the box and go, yep, we've done that. We also want to improve the processes here and the capability to ensure that that continues, that we don't have problems that come up again. The other thing that's been a big focus for us as well has been around community insights, which is our user research group. We have around 300 to 400 people in this at the moment, and it's a really good group that we can go to and ask for their feedback about future features and products and get their feedback before we release it out to everybody. So it's a really good group to be part of. You get to see some things before anybody else does, and your involvement really helps improve our products and services for the entire membership and the community as well. So we really encourage you to join. It can be down from a little survey that takes a couple of minutes up to interviews with us as well. But you get to choose what you take part in. And as you can see there, there's the web link to join up there as well. So we do really encourage you to take part in that as well. Also, what we do around customer experience is we get involved in other projects as well. So we don't lead on this Help Center project, and it's going to be talked about soon, actually, from the membership product and service team. But we put members first in making the decisions of what we're doing in here. And so we get involved to ensure that feedback we received is being taken into account. And this certainly happened with the Help Center. Things around self-service, around timing of getting help during the day, as well as navigation to help services in the APNIC product suite. So we gave that feedback, that went into it, and we just made sure that, you know, the voice of members and community were being put forward as they are considered with our product and services team. But that is something that we're going to be involved with as well going forward. You'll hear about that as well as we go on. And what are we doing as well? So that's some of the stuff we've done. Throughout this year, we're going to continue our work on accessibility, including language as well. A big thing for us is to listen and work together more. That's this whole thing about feedback. We just want to make sure we have as many opportunities as possible for people to get involved. We really want to grow this user research community, and we want to hear from you as well, because together that's how we can make the best experience. We're going to review and improve some key journeys, things like becoming a member, getting support from APNIC, and improving navigation on our sites. We want to make sure that across the whole journey has been improved. And also make sure everyone is aware of the products and services available. That's part of the experience. If you don't know something's there, then obviously you can't have a great experience of using those products and services. And of course, putting members in the community at the forefront of APNIC projects. So everyone's projects throughout this year will be ensuring that we're considering the members and community views on that. So in summary, we're always looking at ways to work together to improve APNIC services and products. But your feedback is vital. It's the most important part of this as well. So please, 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 at every opportunity, do let us know how we're doing or how we can improve. And we'll do our best to action any of that feedback that we received as well. And of course, I have to just remind you one last time, you can join our user research community. It's apnic.net/your say there. Hopefully the link is in the chat there as well. We'd love to have you as part of that. Thank you.
Yep. Great. Thanks, Dale. At this point, do we have any questions for Dale? Give it a bit to see if we have any questions. In the meantime, Dale, I have a question for you. You've really emphasized the importance and the usefulness of feedback for us to improve our products and services. If we had somebody that did take the time and effort to give us feedback, and that person feels that that feedback was never actioned or done anything about it, what is such a person to do?
It's a good question, Anton. And look, we receive a lot of feedback, and we do have to go through a prioritization exercise across all our products and services to ensure that we use our resources the best possible way, and members' resources the best possible way. So if something hasn't been actioned, please do come back to us and let us know. Sometimes you may have let some feedback know to one area of a team, and that may have been a long time ago or more recent, but we just encourage you to get in contact again. We're going to do our best to communicate more effectively, to say, this is what we're working on, this is what we're doing, or potentially if we can't do something, let you know. But always just get in contact with us if you feel that your voice hasn't been heard, because we certainly don't want anyone feeling like that.
Awesome. Thanks, Dale. Appreciate that. Looks like there's no questions. Let's move on to our next speaker then. Our next speaker is Tuan Nguyen. Tuan is a senior internet resource analyst from our services team, and Tuan's going to give us an update from that team.
Hi, thanks. So yes, my name's Tuan. I'm from the APNIC services team. So today I will give a update on some of the service improvements that we've made that would benefit all APNIC members. So let me start with the services team restructure. So in the past, we had two distinct teams. We had a dedicated member services team and a registration services team. So our member services team were in charge of things like admin and tech support. That included things such as name changes and reverse DNS. And our registration services team did needs evaluations, and that included things such as delegations and transfers. So that worked fine back in the day because we used to get large IPv4 requests, and having a specialized team to process them worked well. But since then, the internet industry has evolved, and so have the policies. Now that members can only request a maximum of /23 IPv4, evaluating those needs are quite straightforward. But that also led to our membership, so that has grown, and so has the demand for admin tech support. So to maximize our resources, we have cross-skilled all the services team members. We've combined into one team, and we're now able to process both member service and registration service functions. So our one services team, we now operate as 4 self-managed sub-regional teams. This enables us to get a deeper understanding of the different needs of each sub-region. And that just helps us develop better products and services. So the sub-regional team, it also improves our members' experience because we can now offer a dedicated group of team members for each sub-region to interact with. Our new membership application process was also due for an overhaul. The old membership form, it was designed around our old services team structure, and it wasn't so user-friendly. So that was one of the reasons why it was changed. So now new applicants interact with a single point of contact from APNIC. That's right through the membership process, from the application to evaluation to invoicing and receiving resources. The form itself has been simplified. There's been some UX improvements, so it's easier on the eye and easier to complete. The application form, it also captures all the supporting documents up front, which speeds up the entire process. So these improvements, we've also applied this to our new member referral application form. So if you're an existing member with customers with growing networks, you can help your customers by submitting a referral application on their behalf as a value-added service. So today was mentioned on a little bit on the Help Center, so I'm only going to go briefly as well. So we've overhauled the help desk page on our website. It's now called the Help Center. It collects a range of FAQs and useful articles, and we've stored it all in one place. I won't go over too much in detail, as Andre will cover this next, but it's a good tool that can be accessed when the services team are offline. But not to worry, you can still contact us by phone, chat, or email. So the last topic we have is IRT. IRT is a hot topic these days since it affects every member. We are all required to validate our IRTs, so we receive a lot of questions around this. So just in case you're not familiar with IRT, it stands for Incident Response Team. They are a dedicated team who respond to computer security incidents. And in the past, we did not have an IRT, so you would need to contact either an admin or a tech contact of the network. That's for all matters, including security. In 2010, we had a policy change that required all members to have an IRT, object reference, within their resources. So that's regardless of if it was your own in-house IRT team or if you've outsourced that to another party. But all resources needed to reference an IRT. In 2019, there was another policy change which required all IRT emails to be validated every 6 months. And this was to ensure that they are functional and reachable. And we've also implemented this policy in phases based on some feedback that we've received along the way. So one, the abuse mailbox, sometimes they can mark the validation emails as spam. Two, the UI UX was confusing. And three, company policies may not encourage clicking on links from external emails. So based on those feedback, we've made a number of improvements to the validation process. So as you can see, we've improved the user interface in my APNIC. This is to help you view all your IRTs, which ones are associated with your parent blocks, which ones are associated with your customer assignments, and the status of each IRT shown in the legend. The IRT emails can be amended here and the validation emails resent. So apart from this, we're also proactively reaching out to those who may need help with this process. There are some cases where there could be access or permission issues when trying to edit the IRTs. This is likely a result of either a transfer or the IRTs may have been created by a staff who no longer works at that organization. And lastly, we also provide an alternate option to validate your IRT email. If you prefer not to click on the validation link in the email, you can simply copy the code, provide it in the email, go to https://validation.apnic.net, enter the code to complete the validation. So this policy is now fully implemented. So keep in mind, if an IRT validation process is not completed within 30 days, your access to my APNIC will be restricted until the validation is completed. So if you need any help with this process or you have any suggestions for improvements, please share it with us. Thank you for listening and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Tuan. Are there any questions for Tuan at this point? Again, I'll just give it a few minutes. Tuan, I have a quick question for you regarding the IRT improvement that the team has made. Do you have any feel for the success rate in terms of validations for this since you made the changes?
So since the validation, we've noticed a lot more have been validated. So in the past 6 months alone, we've sent around 11,500 validation emails. Of that, around 7,500 have been validated. The rest are pending validation. So that's about just under 70%. So it's most, but there's definitely room for improvement there.
Well, that's excellent. Let's hope that continues to go up. Well, thank you very much, Tuan. I will introduce the next speaker now. It's Andre Geldenblom. Andre is the product manager for the membership team, and he's going to tell us about some nice, new, exciting features that he's releasing. Thanks, Andre.
Thank you, Anton. My name's Andre. I'm the product manager for the membership product team. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the work that we've done and some of the work that we're currently doing and what we're going to do in the future. And I'll mostly focus on my APNIC, a little bit on the online community platform, and talk a little bit about some of the help and support improvements that are coming. First, I'd like to talk a little bit about my APNIC, our favorite product at APNIC, especially mine. We have quite a lot of improvements coming this year, and we're going to focus a lot on my APNIC this year. So you might actually notice a few changes, and these might include small trial and tests that we do over time, and we continually get your feedback as we do everything. So what we want to focus on this year mostly is we want to improve the access and the usability of many of the member administration functions. So these are mostly around billing, accounts, contacts, and support. And then the other thing we want to do is enhance the discoverability of some of the resource management tools. We're not 100% sure how to do the second bit, so there'll be a lot of research and experiment there, and I'll explain a little bit as we go further. So how are we going to do this? We've got a roadmap of some of the stuff that we've already done, some of the stuff that we're doing at the moment, and a little bit about what we're going to do next. So I'll talk through these as we go along. Firstly, what have we done so far? Here's an example of sort of your feedback. A lot of the stuff that Dale was saying, we collect a lot of feedback, and in collaboration with our members and with the community, we work together, and this is how the product evolves to become a useful piece of software for everyone that uses it. Because it's not something that we're just sitting here trying to make. This is something that the community uses.
Well, it looks like we've lost Andre there for the minute. I think we'll probably move on to the next candidate and see if we can get Andre back in a bit. So let's move on to the next candidate. The next one is Sophia Silva Behringer. Sophia is the product manager of our information team. Thank you, Sophia.
Thank you, Anton. And yeah, I'm Sophia, the product manager for information products at APNIC, and I will be presenting an update on these products. But Before starting with my presentation, I wanted to really acknowledge the audience. Thanks a lot for being here. I know it can be challenging sometimes to keep on your job duties while at the same time attending a virtual conference. So thank you in advance for your attention. For my presentation today, the agenda is basically to cover our 3 products: the Internet Directory, Dashboard for Autonomous System Health, and Netox, which is the Network Operators Toolbox. And I wanted to start with Netox today because it has kept us quite busy since the last conference in September. The Internet Directory is the site where users can discover information about how the Internet number resources that APNIC manages are distributed and used. Since the last conference in September, we did another round of usability tests. We had already mentioned that we did some usability tests, but we wanted to do another round to iterate the designs for a new version that we're working on, and I will talk more in a few seconds. And since September as well, we have worked on a few more improvements and features. We have enabled the comparison mode for the AES interconnection diagrams. And then in the table that used to be the holders table, we now will call it IP prefixes and AES information, because that says more about what this feature offers. But we have now removed the requirement for users to log in order to be able to access this information. So any user accessing the Internet Directory can get access to that table. Regarding that table, we have also added a couple of new tabs. So when users click on a resource, there's a pop-up that offers more information about that resource. That is whois information and some routing information. We have now added 2 more tabs, one with RDAP, with an RDAP result for that resource, and whowas tab that offers the historical information on how the whois data has changed with time. And as I was saying, we're currently working on a big new version of the Internet Directory, which offers a new design with a better navigation, but also some new features, like, for example, the overview section. Another thing interesting about this new version is that we will have a mobile site, an exclusive mobile site for this new version. And this is based on the fact that half of our users are accessing this site from mobile devices. And what is coming up next is some work on improving the possibility for users to select a period of time. Currently, by default, users see information by year, and they can click on a bar and drill down into the months of that year, into the days of a month. But we want to make that more flexible to allow this period of time to go across the boundary of a year, for example. And as I was saying, a lot of the work that we are doing or have done is triggered by feedback. And as Dale mentioned, feedback is very important. So we really want you to have your say. We have a survey open that is about what meaningful information we could offer through the overview section that I mentioned. So you will find the URL in the chat. Please, if you have an interest, participate in this survey. But also we will be doing some testing for the new version of this site. So please sign up to the Community Insights program so that we can send you an invite through that program. And finally, all our products have the feedback button on the right-hand side that you can click and give us any feedback that you have about that product. Our next product is Dash, the Dashboard for Autonomous System Health. This is a product for APNIC members to get information about suspicious traffic that may have been seen going out of their networks. In September, in our last conference, we announced that we had released the first full version of this product. In the last quarter of last year, we had almost 2,000 users using this product, and more than 20 requested further insights. We're currently working on on an additional feature that is a recurring reports feature. So this will allow users to subscribe to receive reports on a periodic manner instead of having to access the product and download the PDF report. And this will be released pretty soon. Also, we are working on some improvements for the backend of this product so that the response times are better. And what is coming up next is there's two big features that we had already mentioned in September, and they are scheduled to be implemented later this year. And it's an alerting feature that is like going a step further with the from the recurring reports and allowing users to set up some conditions that will trigger alerts. And the other feature is the possibility for detecting potential BGP prefix hijacks. Of course, we want you to have your say in this space, in the space of this product as well. We will be soon testing some potential solutions for those new features that I mentioned. So if you would like to participate in these activities, please sign up to the Community Insights program so that we can send you an invite. And of course, the feedback button. One more thing about that is that in a couple of weeks, we have a webinar coming up. You can register through the APNIC Academy. I will be presenting about this product, about how to navigate it, what you can do there, doing a bit of a demo as well. And finally, our third product is Netox, the Network Operators Toolbox. This is a set of tools that allows users to analyze their networks or other networks for example, troubleshooting routing issues. Since September, we completed the validation of some ideas for new features, and that has triggered two of the pending things in the to-do column that I will talk about in a few seconds. And also in collaboration with the registry team, we have now added references to Netox results in RDAP and in the web WHOIS results, so that users who are querying for a specific resource can get more information from Netox. We're currently working on a couple of new things. One is the share feature that will allow a user to generate a URL that they can share with a colleague, and that will show the other person the results for the same widget for the specific resource that the user was looking at. And also a new experimental tab in which we will have some widgets that may not be fully in production, but that we want to gather some information about interest on. As I mentioned, there's two things that we validated that there is some interest. One is the compare networks feature that we will be implementing later this year. And it's about seeing the same widget side by side with the result for two different resources so that the user can compare. And the other one is a new widget that will offer information about autonomous system interdependencies. Something else that is coming up soon is some exploration of opportunities in the RPKI space. We believe that we could do some work there, and we will be exploring that. So if you are interested in participating in this exploration, please, again, sign up to the Community Insights program so that we can send you an invite. Also, as I mentioned, the new experimental tab in Netox will have some experimental widgets, and you can let us know whether you see value in those. And finally, of course, the feedback button as well. So a summary from my update, the Internet Directory will have a new version coming up soon. It will be released in the second quarter of this year. It will be offering a much more user-friendly design and a new overview section with a summary of everything we know about allocation. Then for Dash, the first version seems to be quite successful, and we are working on a new feature that will be released soon for getting recurring reports. And finally, for Netox, the highlight is the exploration we will be doing on some opportunities in the RPKI space. And the final message is, as Dale was saying, feedback is really, really important for us. So please have your say and help us offer you more meaningful information. So thanks everyone for your attention, and I'm happy to receive any questions.
Thanks, Sophia. I don't see any questions at the moment, but we're running slightly over time, so I'm going to push ahead and try and get Andre back online. And then again, I apologize if we don't get to any of your questions, but please feel free to email your questions to conference@apnic.net. So let's see if we can get Andre back online. Andre, are you there?
I'm here. Can you all hear me? I have no idea what went wrong there.
We can hear you. Thanks.
Okay, great. All right. I know we're running short on time, so I'll keep it short and sweet. Where was I? I'd like to talk a little bit about what we've done in MyAPNIC. We have worked with the community got your feedback, and together we are developing and improving the voting app. And we do this with all of our stuff. We don't work in isolation. So all the products evolve over time with your input and in collaboration with members of the community. Now, you can see this directly in effect here. You know, the feedback we get is asking about eligibility. And so now we improve the way people can find eligibility. It's directly asking, how do I see whether proxy is open or closed? So we have put that on here. You can see it on the right-hand side there, if your screen's big enough. And we've also made the schedule a lot more easy to find, so that people aren't running around all over 3 different websites looking for the schedule. So this is an example of how important your feedback is and how it directly influences how we develop and grow products over time. None of this is static, and in general, the entire My APNIC will continually grow and improve. And every now and again, we'll do something wrong, and we'll get your feedback and we'll change it and we'll fix it. And I think that's important too, is that, we don't take forever to do something. If we do make a mistake or do something down the wrong path, we can fix it very quickly and do the right thing. What we're actually currently doing in My APNIC at the moment is we're focusing on the billing side of things. So we want to add new functionality like being able to download receipts, add the ability for people to request advance payments, and something as simple as displaying renewal dates, so it's easy to find out when your next bill is due. Some of the stuff that we're looking for to enhance the discoverability of the resource management side is experimenting with widgets that might go on the front page of My APNIC, that it can expose some of the information that's hidden deep down in some of the resource management tools. The first one we're going to experiment with is the IPv4 available address space. So we'll probably put a widget on there, list the addresses that are available, and sort of experiment with the best way to do this type of thing. And again, get your feedback and improve as we go along. What's next in My APNIC? We'll be focusing on all the accounts, on the contacts, on support. So I'll talk a little bit more about support later on and how this will fit into here, but basically improving the usability of each of these different pages. So improving the usability around contacts, the ability for people to better manage their permissions and their contacts, the better people to manage their billing details, their organization details, etc. So this is towards the end of towards the end of the year, maybe Q3, Q4. The next thing I'll talk about is the online community platform. This is an opportunity that APNIC believes exists for the community to share knowledge around common interests related to network information. We're sort of a little bit in the learning space and the discovery space of this. We want to make sure that just putting a platform out isn't going to mean that a community exists. We've got to nurture and grow a community. And so what we're trying to do now is learn where the best place to do this and what the best platform is to do this on. So currently we're looking at the different types of platforms out there that other people use, and we're experimenting with growing the community from the academy and then using that to then expand into other communities such as SIGs and policies, etc. The next thing I would like to talk about is help and support. Our goals for the help and support products for 2021 is to improve the discoverability and usability of various help and support tools, and then to adopt and integrate sort of new and modern software and tooling so that we can produce better outcomes for our members. So how are we going to do this? Well, firstly, I'll talk a little bit about what we've done, what we're doing, and what we're going to do next. So Help Center, you've heard a lot about it. We did a blog post on it, but basically what it is a section of our website that collects all the information, the FAQs and knowledge articles in an organized way, and it allows you to easily search for these things. And this is the first version. We're hoping to grow this. This is basically pretty standard practice in the industry. Generally, people have help centers. So what we've learned from this one is going out, working and collaborating with the community. We have learned what sections, what categories, how the information architecture should go, and slowly but surely we'll continue learning that. So these are the big things that we've learned, when we go out and ask the community, for input. But some of the small things, even something like as little as being able to display the current date that that we're on, so that when you're looking at the contact page, it's easy for you to do the maths and figure out whether the support people are available or not. Those are little things that sometimes we just completely overlook. And so that's why it's important to get feedback and collaboration all the time. Some of the things that we take for granted are not always obvious to us. And so it's important that you guys give us feedback. Right, what are we doing now? What we're currently doing is looking at adopting and integrating some new software so that we can improve the tooling for our members. We're sort of experimenting a little bit with the Salesforce Service Cloud at the moment. We want to find out whether it'll be useful for overhauling some of our ticketing systems. Maybe it can be used to improve our chats. And we want to sort of experiment with ways that will help our services staff get a 360 view so that they can easily and better serve our members. So at the moment, we're not 100% sure whether that's the right vendor at the moment, but this is part of the learning and growing. Next, we'll be looking at the online community. So once the online community is a little bit more mature, we'll be looking at ways to integrate into other products. So perhaps this will integrate into My APNIC in certain ways. It might also integrate into other products like Netox and, well, we already know it's going in the academy, but other things later on, including the conferences. But at this stage, we're just not sure. So once it matures a little bit more, we'll be able to figure out what's the best way to integrate that. And then we're also looking at, if we do adopt modern software, then we can figure out how to integrate this into a lot of our legacy systems. Maybe we can find ways to improve the invalid contacts form or the network abuse form. We can integrate it into My APNIC. So a lot of this stuff that we want to do next is reliant on some of the outcomes that we're currently working on at the moment. That is it from me. Thank you very much. I will go back to Anton if you've got any questions.
Great, thanks, Andre, for the nice update. Any questions for Andre? Andre, you spoke quite a bit about the online community and the work you're doing in that space. I wonder if people might be wondering if this is going to replace mailing lists.
The answer to that is yes and no. So no, initially mailing lists will keep going, and mailing lists are a community in their own right, in a sense. And so once we better understand what the online community is going to look like, and once we understand the direction it's going in, then we'll consider looking at whether the mailing list can actually be improved by migrating to them or not. So there's no sort of quick decide that we're going to replace it, but I think we should at least evaluate whether the community is a good place that the mailing list people can migrate to over time. So that's the answer there.
Excellent, thank you very much. I don't see any questions pending, so I'm going to move on to the next presenter, who is Peter Blee. Peter is our product manager for our academy and also the training curriculum manager. Peter, over to you. Is Peter online? Just checking to see if we can get Peter online.
He's on the panelist. Okay, just unmute him.
Seems to be there.
Sorry about that. A little bit of a technical glitch. Can you hear me and can you see my presentation?
No, we need to change from Andre.
We did see the presentation for a brief. There's the presentation, but we don't see your face, Peter.
Video on.
I can see Andre's face. Now I can see my face.
Okay, well, I might just
there we go. That's you. You're on.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone's patience there. A little bit unexpected. I wanted to just give this opportunity to update you all on the APNIC Academy. As Anton mentioned, my role is a product manager of APNIC Academy. For those of you who've interacted with training, I most likely know about the Academy, but this is also an opportunity to hear and learn a little bit about what have been some of the successes over last year and into this year, but also to share in some of the things you may not know about in terms of the Academy. If you do have any questions at all, please ask, and my email address is up there as well. And thank you all for taking the time to listen in. For those that are not familiar or are familiar with the Academy, there are essentially 3 or 4 major components. The Academy is a place where you can access self-paced, on-demand courses at your will, so it runs 24/7. There's also a large repository of virtual labs where you can spin up hands-on labs and play around with different network topologies. And we have live webinars that we run continuously throughout each year. And we run roughly about 1 or 2. And Sophia touched on one of hers coming up, which we'd encourage you to join. Some of the key highlights for 2020 and into this year are listed there, and I'm just going to move through these in turn. For those of you that are familiar with the virtual labs, over the 12 or so months, we've served about 5,600 labs and met that roughly an equivalent amount of hours spent. The labs are something that is very popular on the Academy, and we are growing the amount of labs that are available to you. If you're not familiar with the labs, when you do log into the Academy, there is a button or on the navigation at the top called Virtual Labs, and it's a simple matter of clicking a Launch Lab button, and that will spin up the lab in the cloud, and it would abstract all the complexity you would normally need to set it up locally on your computer, and then you can interact with the routers and the devices accordingly. For signups on the Academy over the 14-month period, we've seen an average of 555 new signups each month. It is a massive number of users that are joining the Academy, and I am pleased to say we've broken the 10,000 mark, and we're sitting over 12,000 users on the Academy. Roughly 80% of those are active users, so people are recurring and keep coming back for more, accessing the live webinars, doing more training. We have also, behind the scenes, been moving and building new content. There's 16 new, what we call webinar courses. They're roughly about an hour each. So we've been building upon that repository over the last 12 months. Many of them have quizzes attached to them, and you can gain certificates. So do check those out. We have seen also a massive number of people, I guess, for want of a better word, complete certificates and complete courses and get certificates from the Academy. Since January last year to now, we've been close to 3,450 odd course certificates issued. That's quite, that kind of highlights just how much use the Academy is getting, but also some of these courses are, anywhere between 1 hour, I think on average is about 2.5 hours, right up to 4 hours. So there's a lot of learning that people are doing on the Academy, and there's a lot of certificates that are being issued. We also introduced live webinars, and we were very active in promoting those throughout last year. We hosted 18 webinars, and there was roughly about 2,500 participants that attended. And on the screen there, and these slides are available off the conference website. These were the topic areas that we covered from last year. If you are interested in joining the live webinars, they're roughly about an hour long, and we have 1 or 2 per month. Just a matter of logging into the Academy and clicking live webinars and registering. It's just a one-click registration process. I am going to talk about some recent enhancements, things that you may not have come across, even if you are using the Academy. And I'm just going to move through these in turn as well. We have added 8 new virtual labs that are routing in nature. So you'll see a mix now of BGP, ISIS, and OSPF labs that have been built across different vendor types. And again, when you click those labs, it launches up those topologies and allows you to learn how to work with these different routing topologies and protocols. And since we've launched these new routing labs, there's been over 1,000 launches on that. So they're quickly taken to by people who are on the Academy, and people are spending roughly about an hour per lab. I'm also pleased to say that we've been working quite hard, and we're pleased to say that we've now launched Bengali language support on the Academy. And so we support 9 languages. And if you do click on Bangla, There are courses also with subtitles in Bangla as well, and this is part of our need and your want for us to do more in different languages as you interact with training. I'm also announcing as well that we've just released a new routing fundamentals course. This is to replace the routing basics course. There's been probably about 4 months of lab development and maybe even 6 months of course development with other subject matter experts. That is now available on the Academy as of today. There are 39 video-based topics. There are new labs, and that's about 4 to 5 hours of learning. It is all video-based. And so if you have done the routing basics course and you want to learn more, this course is for you. We've also made changes due to changes with policy with the IRM course. And so if you are interested in learning more about those changes, please visit the Academy to undertake that course again. Something we got a lot of feedback on was how do we access the courses and where can we locate them? And do you have some sort of course catalog? And so rather than building a PDF of a course catalog, we built an online course catalog. So if you do go to the Academy and click course catalog, you'll get some 50 courses that you'll be able to see, many of which that you can just start and do in a self-paced way. And you can filter by subject area, skill level, course type, delivery type as well. Some of the future work that we're working on at the moment is on an OSPF course, which we will launch this year. Also a technical assistance platform to help with remote bookings, given there's a restriction to travel, but a need to connect with those that need TA. We also due to the demand of the cybersecurity course and a lot of things happening in that space, we're also launching a new introduction to cybersecurity course this year. And we're also doing integration work with training.apnic.net, bringing over calendars and registration and other things over into the Academy, and further enhancements as well from the UI and UX. That's all I had to cover. So do please reach out if you do have any questions now, or feel free to drop me an email at peter@apnic.net. I'll be more than happy to respond.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you very much for the update. It's really nice to see all the new content that you provide. We are running a few minutes over time, so I'm going to move on to our final presenter. Someone who needs no introduction, George Michelson, or GGM, is the product manager of our registry team. George.
Hello, everyone. Am I coming through okay?
Yep.
So I'm Lucky Last, and I'm going to talk to you today about the registry products update. So last year, we deployed RDAP into the cloud at the beginning of the year, but we also completed a deployment into North America and Singapore. And we believe that this has significantly enhanced the quality of service for RDAP for most users worldwide, principally for North America and Europe, as a result of the reduction in RTT. We're very happy with our cloud deployment. It's obviously also increased availability of services because we can now survive individual elements of this cloud service being brought in and out of production. We deployed the AS0 system into production, and that's included use of the same cloud infrastructure that we've done in RDAP. And that has helped us to see the kind of reduction in RTT that people can expect in future when we make like improvements in our mainline RPKI. We did work on the RPKI publication service to make sure that this would work properly with Krill, and we commenced work on the design of the NIR API, which is now under development. So what is happening this year? Well, this is how we present the view of our work internally, and you can see that our current activity across the whole of the front half of the year is implementation of the NIR API. But we are intending to do work on the RPKI platform, some improvements in routing management, some activity to support bring your own IP, monitoring improvements, and a whole bunch of other work, including design and implementation of some new service features. But apart from things that are on the activity plan, we also have other work that we're doing, and we're going to be working on improvements to the speed of our pool, some fixes to the date and timestamps that have been recorded against transactions, work to improve resource management, but also we have ongoing support work for the NIR, standards development work, and general bug and support work that gets prioritized by Vivek, who heads up the Hostmaster and Help Desk service. So the main focus of work at this point in 2021 is implementation of the NIR API. This has 4 components, one of which has been completed, and one of them, the main largest one by estimated effort, is currently underway. We're aiming for completion in June because at least one NIR has committed to deployment later in the year in October. We think that this work is going to be useful for all members, even though it focuses on the NIR. It will help us understand how to recommit to a general member API. Now, from those things that I talked about before, I'd like to call out the work we're doing in Rpki to improve resilience of the system, the design work for the next generation registry, and the design of a general member API. Something that we're going to be tackling shortly after we have finished this meeting is we're looking at a problem that's cropped up in training and deployathons where people who are coming to attend and think they have management rights in APNIC haven't been able to perform Rpki functions. And it turns out that we have uncovered a problem in how our rights are granted and managed when accounts are first set up and when people are added as technical contacts. And we propose to fix this as quickly as possible, but we don't want to just apply the change. We want to actually engage with the corporate contacts to make sure that they understand there's going to be a change in the access rights for their technical contact. And you must, of course, still have a second factor authentication. We're proposing a 6-week communication period that will kick off shortly after this meeting, and we'll be communicating with all the affected corporate contacts and technical contacts. There's about 2,500. We have about 10,000 account holders. So the engagement will be managed through our normal communication channels. And along with this, we are also doing software changes so that from this point on, all new technical contacts will have the correct management rights in Rpki, unless the corporate contact decides that they shouldn't be granted them. And this means the experience for most people attending training or deployathons or engaging in Rpki should be significantly improved. So, Rpki Resilience. The APNIC executive has noticed a rising community concern about the stability and viability long-term of Rpki in the hands of the RIRs. And along with Ripe and Aaron, who have particularly come under review recently, we have been looking at what we could do to improve the engineering basis of our Rpki solution. This year, we already have a review of the certification practice statement. That's underway now and will complete shortly. We're also going to be doing some re-engineering of our platform and improving on systems monitoring and improving on the mechanisms for publication. We've invested in development of features in the Krill software stack to make sure that it can support the TA function and also support use of a hardware security module. That's part of our general community benefit investment. And we're thinking in the longer term about additional work we could do to make sure that the trust anchor and publication points are highly available and could survive DDoS attacks and availability under changes in routing. There's been a proposal from the community in at least 2 other RIRs to consider using some mechanisms called certificate transparency, where significant changes to your certification state is put into a non-repudiation log that you sign over. And there are additional oversight suggestions for reporting of fundamental behaviors of our system. We think these might be questions for the routing security SIG, and so we're going to bring that discussion up later on this week, tomorrow in fact, to see what people think. And we've also started the recommissioning of our hardware security investment, which we have to do in 2022 and 2023. And we're going to look at ways that we could implement some form of redundancy for the off and online services. Now, last meeting, we introduced the idea of next generation registry. The most visible element of this is the adoption of services like Rpki and RDAP. But there is also an internal component around how we actually operate the ledger the record of the holdings and distribution of addresses. And we have commenced the process inside APNIC in the Secretariat to discuss our business requirements for development of that component of the next generation registry. Once we've done that, the next stage will be to actually move to the design of a technical implementation. This is not going to be a one-year investment. It's very likely to be a multi-year investment in software development and deployment. And we want to ensure that the registry we build and operate can continue to be viable across changes in expectations for service delivery for the next 10 to 15 years. We're doing this work at the moment and we'll bring those proposals into the community later on in the year. So, we originally launched a general member API back in 2017, but we didn't carry that work forward. Based on the experience that we're gaining now implementing the API for the NIRs, we would like to relaunch the general member design. It's going to be using single sign-on methods, it'll be using JSON, it's going to be in the REST API style, and our guiding principle is that anything you could do in my APNIC, you should be able to do it in the API. But there are lots of issues we haven't settled. Should you be able to use it to manage your RPKI rowers? How would it relate to our route management system, which is an abstract model that implements both RPKI and IRR objects? How are we going to implement reverse DNS in this? We'd like your help to understand what to do. We're going to engage in UX and CX activity across this and next year, and we have a mailing list that is targeted at services for discussion of technical requirements rather than necessarily user engagement aspects. And again, progress will be reported at the next meeting. That's the end of my presentation, Anton. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to help.
Thank you, George. Really appreciate the comprehensive update. I see there's actually one question there. So although we've overrun a little bit, let's take the question. This is from AFTAB. Siddiqui, CPS review, what's the timeline? Is this an internal review?
So we commenced this work last year, and it's in final stages of document construction from the technical review and the legal review, and we're targeting delivery of this document by mid-year. I can make a much more detailed report on this at APNIC 52, and we expect in future this is going to be subject to more frequent revision. We left this too long. It's been about 10 to 12 years since the last revision, and we think it's more likely to be a living document that reflects changes in the nature of RPKI as they emerge. For instance, when we originally wrote this system, client access to our services was based on certificates and we didn't have two-factor authentication. So these kinds of things that influence how we recognize you, the community users of the service, do have to be reflected in the document. If we made significant changes to our HSM practices, these would have to be reflected in the document. So our intention is it's going to be subject to a much more frequent review, and it's a public document. It does have to have legal review and it has to meet a basic template and a structural form, but it's part of the community commitment we make that it's visible and available.
Great, thanks, George. Really appreciate that. For folks that are interested in RPKI, as you said, George, there's the routing security SIG on tomorrow, and I'm sure this will be discussed in more detail. I think we've come to the end of our session, and would like to thank all the presenters and also everybody attending. Hope you found it informative and hope you enjoy the rest of your conference. Thank you very much. I'll hand it back to our MC.
Thank you, Anton, and thank you to all of our speakers today. Just to let you know, if you have any further questions on the presentations, you can most definitely send your questions to conference@apnic.net. We are now triggering a poll for you to tell us what you think about the session, and it should show up on your screen right now. Please share your feedback to help us improve. And while you're doing that, I'll just let you know that we're having a 35-minute break at the moment. So please come back and join us in 35 minutes because we will have the APNIC plenary on routing security, present and future. So during the break as well, I just would like to have one last reminder. If you're feeling confident today, how about sharing a photo of yourself joining from home or from your office using the hashtag APNIC51 or hashtag Apricot 2021 on Twitter or Facebook. If we don't see you on the social media, we hope to see you at the plenary in 35 minutes. Have a nice break. Thank you.